Temper Tantrums. Temper Tantrums. Welcome back to the Temper Tantrums podcast. I'm Wes. That's my sister Brandy, and we're joined with our John. John. He's our
Uh,
John now.
he's mine.
Welcome everybody back to the Temper Tantrums podcast. Like I said, we are your hosts, Brandy and Wes. We're joined with our John apparently, and we are steadily going through all of the different houses that we have lived in. This is part 3. Before we go on and start jumping on to the next house, through the past few days, 3 stories from the Helene house have been kind of bugging me that we skipped over. I think there are some pretty good stories that we have to at least touch on before we go to the next house.
Okay.
All right. So the first story that I remembered was, do you remember that house across the street that all those construction workers were stripping out? And they pulled out all those copper wires and was going to throw them out. And they seen us outside playing. And one of the construction workers came over and was like, "Hey, kids, y'all want to make some money on the side? If you strip all this plastic off that's copper. You could sell it." So what we did is we went through that dumpster and started grabbing out piles of all this copper wire. And somehow we got a hold of some knives and razor blades and was hand stripping these copper wires. And I'm not saying these things were that thick, stripping that rubber plastic tubing off, pulling them out. I remember our friend, the Tanner kid,
Taylor
helped us out. Taylor helped us out a little bit. We gave him some of the copper, and then once we got some down, enough, it was quite a bit. Dad wouldn't take us to the recycling bin to cash it in, so we had to go door to door around downtown Memphis trying to sell just stripped copper. And we made $25 going door to door selling copper.
I remember that, but I don't remember ever getting any of the money.
We all split it because we went to the Dollar Tree. We only got $20. We all split it, got $5 each, and went to the Dollar Tree and just had I remember getting nothing but Hershey bottles. Huh?
A Dollar Tree party.
Yeah, we had a Dollar Tree party. I got 2 or 3 bottles of Hershey syrup, just the bottle, supposed to go in chocolate or supposed to go in milk and stuff. But I just bought 2 or 3 bottles just to chug, just to have good chocolate on hand. Then, okay, so we have to talk about Steven's hustle. That was one of our hustles, but Steven had a really good hustle in that house. Oh, you remember it? So, in the Helene house, my dad thought that I was of age to give me my first nudie magazines. And he gave me 2, and he said, "Don't let anybody know that you have these. All right, these are mine and your secret. All right, don't let anyone know. Don't let anyone see them. Nothing. This is our secret between me and you." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what did I do is that I had books and magazines in a bookshelf, and I took off the covers of 2, and I put the covers around the Playboys, and I kind of stapled them so they looked like regular magazines if you just looked at my bookshelf, right? Well, Steven we shared a bedroom, so nothing of mine was really off limits to him. And, he was of the age of being like, kind of nosy, snooping, wanting to, see what's going on, around him. And he definitely found those nudie magazines. And what he would do, he would rip a page or two out, take them to school. And I'm talking about, he went to the same like smart school that Brandy did. Like this was like a very nice school, and was going around selling pages out of Rip Nudie magazine.
That's ingenious.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that until you started talking about it. Yeah, that was insane.
The smartest,
oh my God, yes.
smartest kid hustle. What grade was he in? He didn't have to be like
He was in third grade.
Oh my God.
third or fourth
Third.
grade. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in fourth grade. He was in third.
Everybody's giving up their lunch money, and their parents are like,
Everyone's just
why are you
giving
running
this
out of
man
lunch
lunch
money?
money.
I don't even know how he got caught. Did mom find one of them in his pants or something when she was doing laundry? Is that how I vaguely remember?
Yeah, that's how I think that's how he got caught, is that no, he was supposed to have like a paper signed or something like that. So mom went through his bag trying to find the piece of paper, and she was like, "What's this?" And to get himself out of trouble, he was like, "Wes has nudie magazines."
I got it from him. They're from him.
Yeah, they're all his.
Yeah, they're his. I don't even know what you're talking
So
about. Like, I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, one more, and then we can move on. The Brickhouse Brown story. We didn't tell Brickhouse Brown story.
Oh yeah, where did Dad meet Brickhouse
Whenever
Brown?
I
I don't
think
think
on
he's
the
gonna
job
know who
side,
that is.
I think he was just
Working construction with Dad. Working construction with Dad.
I think Dad was building yard barns at the time, to be honest.
Oh yeah, with Shug.
Because that's the reason why he had the trailer and everything, was to build yard barns. So I think he was building a yard barn, and either close to Brick's house, or Brick just saw Dad. You know what I mean? And Dad was, like we've said, 6'7", 350, big guy. Uh, for those who don't know, Brickhouse Brown was like a pretty big like wrestler in Memphis at the time, and still like a well respected name. You know, I've always loved wrestling. Wrestling was always kind of like a big thing for our childhood and stuff like that. It was always really around, unless like it was like the big Christian times, and then we weren't allowed to watch it. But yeah, it was for like Dad to like bring home a real professional wrestler, and like he came down trying to get Dad to like start training for Memphis wrestling. Like that's what Brick was trying to do. What he really did was talk me into it as a kid, because like from then on, it was like before then, wrestling was always just a dream. You know what I mean? But until I met Brick, like it was like, oh, not only is it like this is possible, and not only is it possible, it's actually within reach. You know what I mean? And for some reason, my kid brain, I still thought that I was going to grow up to be as big as Dad. So I was just like, it's just a matter of time, really. You know what I mean?
Because he's like, Dad's a big mother effer, and he's like,
yeah. Just wait 4 more years, Brick, and you can come.
Yeah.
Come get me.
I'll start training with you, man.
Yeah, and then so like Dad invited Brick over to the house, as Dad does, and fighting everyone over, and to have supper with us. Brick like sat around our living room, we had goulash, I think it was. Something to where we had to have hot sauce. And my dad
I
is also a very big, what's up?
I don't remember because that wasn't a very big prominent time in my life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, wrestling was cool to me, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like so. Like, I remember him being there. I remember it, but I don't remember like hanging around, like while he was talking. Like him and Dad were talking to you mostly, and stuff at the table and stuff. Like, so I'm pretty sure like him and Dad smoked a little weed, like sat around, drank some beers, hung out a little bit, but I was off.
Do you remember the hot sauce story that dad likes to tell?
Oh yeah, that he let him try some hot sauce
Yeah, so
and he was
dad's
way
like a
too.
real big hot sauce. Yeah, dad's a real big hot sauce connoisseur. Like he loves hot sauce. And dad one time found this real hot sauce called Hot as Hell hot sauce. It
Mm.
was like this blue label, had this red devil on it and some flames. Like just by the label, you knew that thing could set your butt on fire.
Yeah, yes.
So dad starts putting hot sauce on his food and he hands it over to Brick. And Brick goes to do like dad does, shooting the sauce all over his plate. But dad goes, wait a minute, Brick, before you do that, that stuff is hot.
This
You
ain't
know, that's
Frank.
not this ain't Frank's, this ain't no Louisiana. This is some hot sauce. And Brick's like, don't worry about it, man. I got this. And just like put just as much, if not more, on his plate than dad's. And he was talking to dad and everything. He took a bite and he just set his fork down, just let dad talk, just listening. And dad, for about 5 minutes, Brick just listening to him, shaking his head. It's like, Brick, if you want a new plate, you can go get a new plate. You don't have to eat that. Brick's like, oh, thank God, thank God.
He should have listened. Yeah, because I remember Dad like letting all of us try it. The hot sauce like put a little on our finger to let us try it, and then we let like Taylor try it next door, and he was like, "What the hell?" And he yelled that in the middle of the like sidewalk in our neighborhood, and his parents, were like kind of a little uppity, and so it was like, oh my God, he's cussing out here in front of everybody, in front of God and everybody, and then he had to go home because it was way too hot for him.
One more. Did we talk about me being branded at the house?
No, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, okay, so as siblings fight, siblings fight, and Wes and I were no different. We used to get in some knockdown dragouts, and our parents weren't there. They were working, and so it's just us. Kristen and Steven had already moved at this point, so it's just me and Wes. Josh might have been living in the backyard. Who knows at that point? I can't remember. But so me and Wes were at home, and again, like my room was off the kitchen, and so like it was connected to the kitchen, so there was that door. So it kind of like the house made a circle. You could go around it as a circle. And one time I made some ramen noodles when I was at after school, my after school snack. And what did I do to you to make you so mad?
Um,
Did
I
I
don't
kick your
remember
door in or something?
why. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know
Who knows?
why we got so mad, but we did. We started fighting, and so we
Yes.
started running through the circle.
And again, I had just cooked some
And
ramen noodles,
as we
and
were
I
running
don't know
through,
about you guys, but ramen noodles taste the best when they're cooked on the stove. Like just putting it out there, my ramen noodle connoisseurs, the stove ramen is different. If it's different than the microwave ramen, okay? So, and of course, like I'm like 8 years old, you know, just made some ramen, um, pissed off my brother, and so of course, like he starts chasing me around this circle of the house. Oh my God. I don't know if y'all have Southern mothers or if your mothers do this, whatever, if y'all put a little rug right in front of the stove. But our mom did. And as Wes is chasing me around the house, he slips on this rug and his arm goes right down on the stove's eye, the the burner, as you will. In the South, they call it an eye of the stove, but in the North, they call it a burner. So right down on the burner. It was an electric stove. It had like the wire, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden, Wes is like screaming, and so of course I stop and I come back, and he like runs to the bathroom, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And because it's the whole don't tell mom, it's fine. And he's like, my skin, I can smell my skin. Like, oh my gosh.
No,
Take it from
yeah,
there, Wes.
because it made a perfect. I had for almost like 5 years. I had 3 rings that went from almost like the middle of my forearm all the way around to my elbow,
Hmm.
and I had that brand. I'll never forget standing in the mirror looking at it as it's like kind of like
Like
sizzling, like
sizzling,
you can still hear it like crackling, like you know what I mean? Like
like a
whenever you
pork
take
rind.
barbecue, when you take barbecue off the grill and like the skin's still going. That was my forearm.
That was your arm.
And I was like, you smell that? Brady's like, yeah. I'm like, that's my skin. And so since no one was at the house, we go
Our
to
parents didn't have cell
uh
phones or anything.
so we went to
Taylor's mom's house
what was
or
his name?
Taylor's house.
We went to
Taylor's house.
Taylor's house, and I'll never forget knocking on the door, and she opens the door with the Corona in her hand. All right, and she's like, "Oh, hi, honey. Um, Tanner's or God damn it,
Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor's not home. Taylor hasn't got home yet from school. He'll be here in a minute. Is there anything I can help you out with?" And I said, yes, ma'am. Do you have any like
Cream.
aloe vera or anything? And she's like, yeah, what happened, honey? And I go, I kind of burnt my arm a little bit. And I held it up. And she almost dropped the Corona bottle out of her hand. Like she turns white, right? She starts flipping out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Have you told your parents yet? Do we need to call 911? And then what she does, she turns on this box fan. She lathers this thing up with aloe vera. I'm talking about to the tops of my fingers all the way to my armpit. It's just an aloe vera bottle, right? And then she stuck me right in front of this box fan, and she wouldn't let me move until
Yeah.
mom came and got us.
Yeah, because I think I had to go back and put a note on the door or something saying that we were there. But I'm like, I was still like, you gonna tell mom or do we gotta tell her?
Please don't tell mom and dad.
Don't tell my
Please
mom. Don't
don't
tell
tell
my
mom.
mom.
But what's also funny is how we went from cats and dogs fighting to wait a minute, one of us is hurt. We
This
gotta
is
take a
serious
pause.
now. Guys, this is serious.
Yeah. Things have happened. We need to settle.
We need an adult. This is real. Yeah, no, I feel like you had that burn for more than 5 years because you had that burn like I feel like almost up until you were in high school. Like when you were in high
Yeah.
school.
Just like recently, I think like for the past like 2 or 3 years, I've noticed that it's gone. Like to be
Yeah,
honest, I thought that I was gonna have that
for the
for
rest of your
for
life.
life, just
It
because
was a
of
good, but it was a good
yeah.
story. So anyway, now you know ramen noodles can kill. Okay. What if that was his face?
Ramen noodles can kill.
I wasn't allowed to use the stove, so for a long time after that. So ramen noodles hit different in the microwave. I'm just saying.
Less fleshy smell.
Maybe.
I used to like double check the like oven for the stove. I used to like double check it after that just in case because I'm like, oh man, we can't have this again. We can't go through this again. Like, this is not okay. But yeah, so oh, and at Halloween we got Sophie. Remember, we got Sophie from Sugar Cat. She was just a little tiny baby. We
Yep.
got her at like 4 weeks old. We picked her out from the litter, brought her home. She's a little nugget. She looked like a little Rottweiler.
Yeah, yes, you did. I'll never forget because we never like really had animals very long,
Yeah,
like kept
no.
animals very long. I remember Shug like taking us, me and us, and like to the side and was like, "Look, this is y'all's pet." He was like, "Don't let anything happen to this puppy." He was like,
Mhm.
"Don't let mom and dad let go of this puppy. Y'all don't get rid of her. This is y'all's puppy.
Yeah.
All right, and I expect y'all to take care of her and to love her and to keep her." He made that to
And
keep her.
we
All
did.
right, we did. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
Well,
that was
mom
the best
did.
dog in the world.
Oh my God. Like literally, I don't know if I've cried harder than I did whenever she passed. Like it was like, like that reel that goes around that's like, what's the tattoo that you got after crying like this? And it's someone like literally breaking down and screaming, crying. Have you seen that? And then it goes to like a tattoo that they
I have
got.
it, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the crying that I did, like after she passed, because she was 17 years old. Like she was like our life, like she was our sibling, literally our sibling. Like she, she was the best dog ever. No offense, Kimmy.
Oh yeah, we used to have like little fights. Like I remember whenever she was growing up, if you put a blanket over your head, like that was it. Like you're getting torn up. You know what I mean? Like her favorite thing was a ball. Like if you were in her way when that ball gets thrown, you're getting demolished. Even if
Yeah.
she's only 4 inches off the ground. Like
Oh yeah, I guess we should mention that Sophie was a mixture of like a dachshund and a Jack Russell Terrier. So she looked like a dachshund, and then or dachshund, however you want to say. I don't care. She looked like a wiener dog, not like a wiener
yeah,
dog.
there you go.
And she, uh, that she was just a little taller, and she could jump and stuff like the Jack Russell, and she was hyper like the Jack Russell. So she was the best. But that kind of takes us
Oh
to
yeah,
like our
because
next house.
go ahead.
Because in Millington, so we moved to Millington next, and that was in 2003. We moved to Millington, and we took Sophie with us, of course. And we had a fenced in backyard for her, and she would literally climb the chain link fence. Like she would climb it with her little paws. We caught her climbing it with her little paws to get over the fence, and she would just run the neighborhood.
Well, we had to do an experiment because she kept on getting out. Not only did she kept on getting out, but she would chase the mailman. You know what I mean? And like you said, she would just terrorize the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like little dog, like little bark, but man, when she comes after you, she would come after you. She kept on getting out. So yeah, we had to do an experiment of putting her out in the front yard and watching her through the windows and everything for a good like hour before she would even attempt it. You know what I mean? Like she's like, "I'm a good dog. I'm a good dog. I'm a good dog." All right,
Squirrel.
it's been a good minute. No one's gonna notice I'm gone now, and then she'll just jump out.
Yes. She's crazy. She's the best dog. But So the Millington house, yeah. So we moved out to Millington, which is like a smaller, like country like town. Or it used to be back in 2003 when we like moved there. We
Mhm.
yeah, so we had separate rooms again, so that was awesome. I got the bigger room this time though. We used to trade off like
Yep.
who like would get the bigger room each house we went to. Like Wes would get it one time and then I would get it the next time. So Wes had like a closet room. I swear it was it was a bit bigger than like Harry Potter's room. Yeah, so you fit back to this bedroom that was small. Like you had a twin bed in there. You somehow also fit like, was it a love seat?
No, it was a recliner. It was a brown
Oh,
recliner that we got. I think it broke somehow to where like it wouldn't either recline with the stick or your feet. Like you'd have to manually pop this bar out to actually shut it. But I decorated it. I had a Sharpie and I drew all over it. Like for some reason I really liked bulldogs at the time. I thought like my nickname would be the Bulldog. Like I could get that over. So, so I drew a bulldog and wrote Bulldog all over it, and kind of like my first like kind of graffiti, thing that I got to mess with. I put that in there. I also had, those old school box TVs. Now I'm talking about this thing was like probably 3 foot long. I mean, this thing, box TV,
yeah,
old
yeah.
70s style, had to push the buttons to change the channel kind of thing. I put that in there, and then also had my Kenwood Pioneer stereo to set on top of that. So like, yeah, it was small, but I got a bunch of things in there.
You made it
Like,
happen. You made it happen. That's the important part. Yeah, and then I had my room and down the hall and stuff, and there was mom's room and then mom and dad's room and then yeah, and then so a couple of things that happened while we lived there. Let's see. So Kristen and Steven and my aunt Dawn had moved back from California at this point. They moved back because if you remember from the last one, Dennis and my aunt Dawn got together. So
mhm.
they got together, got married, that kind of thing. They were living together. And Kristen and Steven obviously lived with them. Ryan went to live with his dad. And then whenever we moved to Millington, Josh had an apartment. He had that
Yeah.
apartment, remember? And it had like the pool, and we,
Mhm.
mom and dad would drop us off there. It like all of us, like Chris and Steven, like me, you, would drop us off there at the pool at like this apartment building. And it was like it was a good ways away from his apartment, I feel like, from what I remember. Because remember, we used to have to like
It was like a
get in the back of his truck and he would have to take us back.
Yeah, it was probably about like 2 blocks, 2, 3
Yeah.
blocks away from his apartment.
Well,
But
we
do you remember?
terrorized this swimming pool.
Well, to be honest, who gives out just like free cappuccinos by a swimming pool and doesn't
Yeah,
guard it?
they had a cappuccino machine. Like in their clubhouse, they had a cappuccino machine and they were free. And so you could either get coffee or cappuccinos. And hello, we got cappuccinos all day long. It was the summer. We were living our best life. We would go drink a cappuccino, go jump in the pool. Then we would like get really cold, so then we'd go jump in the hot tub and we would be hyped up on caffeine. Like it was wild, and we would be there all day long, literally from sun up to sundown all day long. Yeah. And then we went back.
Yeah.
I remember staying the night there. Like we all stayed the night there a couple of times. Whenever I saw Dennis snort the cocaine off of the kitchen table. I remember that. I
Uh,
remember. Go ahead.
no, you. So did mom and dad kind of split up at that house a little bit?
And the
Do I remember that
Millington house.
correctly? Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that was like so we lived there like a year. We lived there because we moved there during this like the end. okay, the end of my 5th grade year, we moved from the Helene house to um the Millington house. And so we, oh man, we weren't there a whole year, I don't even think. I just remember the summer felt like it was forever. Like it felt like it
Yeah.
was a really long summer. And we,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we built ramps. The backyard had two flower pits, like two flower boxes, and nothing grew in them. But we made ramps out of wooden pallets for, we had 4 wooden pallets. So we made, ramps over the flower boxes. Um, that was the that was the house that Ryan. We went over to Dale's house because I used to go over to Dale's house all the time, and that was the first time Ryan got me high. Um, and then also at that house, do you remember Debbie and Debbie's kids and her husband that lived almost on the other street?
yeah,
So they used to sell our parents weed. And I remember having to be kind of like the drug runner at the time. Like, hey, go over to Debbie's house, give her this. She's going to give you something, bring it straight back home. And so I would go over to Miss Debbie's house. I'll give her some cash. And it's like, Dad said that he owed you this. And she'd be like, okay, yeah. And then she'd like give him like put something in a bag and goes, I forgot to give your dad this the other day. Give this to your dad. Don't open it. Don't look inside of it, honey. Just give it to your dad. All right. Make
yeah.
sure you give it to your mom and dad. Like, okay. Just biking. uh yeah, I'll never one of my favorite stories actually is the story of Ryan getting me stoned for the first time. So one of these times we're definitely gonna have to tell that story.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be for a different time. That's a whole thing. And like all
Yeah.
of our times out at Dale's house, because we went to Dale's house a lot during the summertime, and he lived way out in the country, and we did some wild stuff out there, like
Oh
swimming
yeah,
in
do you remember
cornfields
that
and stuff
time?
like that.
Y'all remember that time y'all got in trouble by swimming in a cornfield?
Yeah,
Like that's the first time you ever saw Dale mad. It was like
I was
y'all
so
had
scared.
y'all had all white t-shirts and stuff, and for some reason we thought it rained or something. The field was kind of flooded, and we all just looked at it and was like, "That looks like a great swimming hole." And yeah, we went swimming, came back head to toe with mud and clay all
Yeah.
over us. And I just remember Dale just going, "Your mom and dad's gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. Like y'all they send them out just so they can have some time, and then I'm gonna send them back with just brown clothes. They were white. They were white."
And they're never gonna let you come back here. You know that, right? You're never gonna be allowed back. Yeah, we'll have to talk about the stories at Dale's house. That'll have to be a whole episode on itself. But at this house, though, speaking of the
Hey,
marijuana,
I bet you we could probably get Dale on this if we asked
probably,
him.
yeah, have some wild. We definitely need to get our cousins on here though, talk about some of our wild stories. But this is also the house that I took my first drug screen in 5th grade. So my first
Yep.
P.
Yep.
So our cousins, so Chris and Steven were staying with us, and I don't know, for our parents stashed their weed in like a heart-shaped box and left it in the living room. And um my cousins used to steal some of it out here and there, and then I guess I don't know, sometimes they got greedy, I don't know. But and they took like my mom's like glass pipe and stuff like that. And like I remember us going to like, I don't remember her name. Was her name Courtney? I feel like it was Courtney. Around like she lived a street over, and
She was blonde, that blonde
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
She had a brother, right?
I can't remember. I think so, maybe.
But they always hung around that dude. They hung around that one weird dude all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Do
I
you remember
remember
the
those.
weird dude? I think the.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I remember like cutting through like someone's backyard. Like there was a little bike trail that we used to cut through to go to her house. And I remember like them pulling out the weed and everything and the papers and stuff like that. And they were trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, guys, I got this. I got this. I've seen this. And I rolled them a joint. I never smoked it. Never smoked it. But I did roll with it. And yeah, and then Steven got way too high and was freaking out. And then they like took all of the weed instead of just a little bit. They took all of it and then ripped up the baggy pieces and put it on the floor and said that Sophie ate it. And then Steven started acting crazy, thinking he had a spider bite and it was a mosquito bite. And so of course our parents were pissed. And we had to all take drug screens. 5th grade, guys. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, so in 5th grade, yeah, and so we all had to take our drug screens. Who was the only one that failed? Only one person failed it. Was it Steven?
Uh,
Because I remember you kind of
it was,
freaking out
yeah.
because you had just tried it at Ryan's, and I remember you kind of freaking out a bit. But
No. I was freaking out because the first time I did weed was after it. After I took
uh,
the drug screen. That's kind of the reason why I took weed, right? I was just like, well, if I'm gonna get,
accused of it.
people already think I'm smoking weed because they thought it was me
Mm-hmm.
at first. They thought it was
Because
me, and that's the reason why we took
we were in
what.
5th grade and 4th grade. Like they didn't think it was us.
So, so yeah, I was like, well, yeah, because of that drug screen, and then like the pep talk that Ryan gave me of everyone that I know smokes weed, like literally everyone at that time
Yeah.
I knew smoked. So it's just like, for everyone that I know smokes weed, and I'm getting blamed for smoking weed, I might as well smoke fucking weed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, God, at that house, like me and Kristen, like we're friends with this little boy, and we decided to steal a whole carton of like his grandma's cigarettes and climb into this tree and like smoke them all. No wonder I have asthma, okay? No wonder.
Dad found out that an older guy that y'all were kind of hanging out with was a child molester, and like had to run him off a couple of times.
I never hung around him or around them. Like I was like I got the creepy vibe, so I would he always was lurking around. And I remember like everyone was going back and riding their bikes towards like this back cornfield because there was a cornfield at like the end of our like neighborhood. And they were like, yeah, let's all go back here. And there's a school bus and we can check it out. And that guy was there too. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm out. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's go. And they didn't, they were like, oh, whatever. Like, call me a weenie and stuff like that. And I was like, I ain't doing it. I'm not. And so I went home. But like, yeah, like that guy. And then that guy used to always drive by our house. And I remember dad finding out that like he was like a child molester. He was like registered or whatever. And dad like grabbed like this steel pole out of the ground that was like for the horseshoe pit and like gripped it out of the ground and was going off down the street and was like, come on, you motherfucker, let's go. Like, you want to go after kids? Like, let's have it out. And then dad found out where he went and he went to his house or where he lived. And so then he went to his house and he like threatened him that if he ever came near us again, he would literally kill him. So
Yeah.
fun times.
Uh,
Yeah, and
right
then
around
so
right right around that time, we'd also ride our bikes to the Jetway,
mhm.
which from the trailer park from the trailer park, which it was kind of like a trailer park housing community, like it was kind of sandwiched into one.
Mhm.
And from there to the jetway had to have been like a mile and a half. And we used to ride our bikes from there all the way to the jetway, which was like a convenience store in Millington, where we would also watch the Blue Angels come and fly and everything like that for free, because you could sit at the jetway and watch the air show. Right beside the jetway, I remember they sold car systems. So speakers, music, stuff like that. And sometimes they would have like pimped out caddies over there and stuff like that. And I remember like kind of listening to Little White in 3 6 Mafia for the first time, like right around that, because
Mhm.
of that, like them bumping it. And then
Yeah.
because of them bumping it, the Millington kids knew about Little White and 3 6 Mafia and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like
So we all started
around
listening to
that,
that.
yeah, around that time, like that's whenever 3 6 Mafia was like blowing up.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't go anywhere without hearing 3 6, Little
Yeah.
White, you know, Project Pat.
Yeah. It was not the safest trek for children because it was right off the highway. So like we had to cross like the highway to get across to it. But yeah, then we get our sodas or whatever, and then like our candy if we had any money and stuff, and then go back. But yeah, and like went on lots of adventures on our bikes. We went everywhere on our bikes. Like kids these days, they don't even know. One, it's not safe as it used to be, but like it probably wasn't safe then, but we were fine. And we would go on all kinds of adventures, like on our bikes. Like we would be gone all day on our bike, all day. We like we would
Yeah,
get locked
well,
out of the house
at the
because
time,
we were going in and out
at the
too.
time
So
too, like we weren't allowed in the house. There was like a whenever you go outside, the doors locked behind you. Stay outside. Don't come in unless you're bleeding or you're hungry. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
and it has to be around certain times of the day.
yeah,
You thirsty? There's
there's
a
a
water
hose.
hose, okay? There's the hose. You can drink out of that. You'll be fine.
You need to use the bathroom. You got to do one or two.
If you gotta do one, you can go
One.
outside. Yeah. Or go to your little friend's house across the road.
Use
Use
their
their toilet
water.
paper. You ain't using ours.
Matter of fact, grab a square. Bring it over.
Yeah. If you need to snag a roll, we might need that. Can you get some sugar too? We might need some sugar.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, but okay, but we also had like parties and stuff. Like our family like grilled out like every weekend. Like literally every weekend we had like a little party. And like I said, like my Aunt Dawn, Dennis, Grandma, like Josh, like his girlfriend, I think her name was Amanda back then. I'm not really sure.
I think so too.
And yeah, and then to like all of us kids and everything,
And
and maybe
then
some
and then
neighbors.
Josh's friends too, like Bo, John would come over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They
Yeah,
would
Big
hang
John would come
out.
over. Yeah, and like they would like all drink and everything like that. And like everyone would, like they would have a party. They would have like like they would do horseshoes for hours, like, and then we would all like eat and everything like that. I remember like grandma grandma used to like give us the ends of her beers for us to go get her a new one. And so that was fun. So yeah, and then so at
And
that point, like that was that started early though. That started when we were like 7. So
yeah, yeah. Also, what was crazy, like around these times too, whenever we would cook out and have these parties on the weekend, was that like through the week, it was almost like we were scraping. You know what I mean? Just like
yeah,
very, just like having like pot pies, or just like mom having to like scrape
Barely
some
getting
stuff
by.
together to get by and stuff like that. But on the weekends, we would feast like kings.
We were kings and queens on the weekends. We were the party house. We were the place to be. We always had music jamming. We had all kinds of barbecue, all kinds of beer. You come and hang, friend. Every once in a while, we would get those little Kool-Aid little pouches. We could have those. Otherwise, it was Kool-Aid out of the fridge, you know what I'm saying? Or water. Sometimes we could have the tea. Sometimes. But yeah, I mean, but like those are like the good things I remember, and those are the things that like, okay, yeah, a little fucked up that like everyone was drunk, but at the same time, like we had so much fun, like as a family, like get-togethers and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of family stuff that I miss the most. Is just like being together, spending time together, like playing cards. Like we played rummy like crazy, like rummy, spades, like everything. Played all these things and
But
like did things as a family.
that was also because like there was no cable, there was no
Oh yeah,
internet.
yeah,
I mean, that's all really we had to do was either play cards, come up with something, or party. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that was it was the only thing to do.
yeah. I remember that you and Ryan got in trouble for stealing like Amanda's Mike's Hard Lemonade or something like that.
No,
And
they
y'all
were
were like,
given
she
to us.
gave it to us. She gave them to us. And I remember mom and dad being so mad. And you guys, and I remember somebody saying that were
That was my first time
stolen.
getting drunk. That was my first time getting drunk. Because everyone was drinking, right? And they were,
Yeah.
Amanda's like, she's like, you know, y'all are only a few years younger than Josh, really, you know, and I kind of feel bad that we're all out here drinking and you and Ryan never really get to do anything. So she's like, there's some My Cards lemonades out there for y'all. She's like, y'all can say that they're mine, but they're really y'all's. Y'all can drink them. She's like, it just don't,
Take them to your
you
room.
know, you take them to your room, you know, and y'all have a good time. So we were like,
Might
well,
I
fuck yeah, we're
add?
gonna have a good time.
Yeah, might I add though,
Huh?
you were in seventh grade going into eighth grade. So like, no, like it wasn't like you were at the age where it's time to start partying. No, sir. You should have been in there watching some PBS, okay? Like playing some Scrabble, playing some bingo with your friends, something. Not drinking no Mike's Hard. Like, come on.
Bingo, I was in the 7th grade, not 70. What are we doing?
Okay. But listen. But in Tennessee, like you didn't even get to go to sex ed until eighth grade. You weren't even allowed to be in that, but you were given Mike's Hard Lemonade. Let's talk about it. Drunk
I
the
mean,
first time.
uh, yeah, bad decisions were made.
What's new? What's new?
I
But
mean, what else
yeah,
do you want me to say?
yeah. So yeah, and like so that was the summer, and then like going into the fall is where it got really sketchy for us. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean Josh had his wreck and his overdose, and go that was like at the very end of summer, early fall. I remember that
Hmm.
he.
Oh, I remember that vividly. I mean, we can go into I don't know that story
We
now,
can
or we
go
could
into
tell it.
that a different time maybe if y'all want to hear about that, but it was very scary for us. Like
Yeah, I mean, because of that and seeing the girl uh long ago is the reason why like I never really got into medication.
yeah.
And
Okay, but
because of
he wasn't
Adderall.
prescribed
But
that
like yeah.
medication. He wasn't prescribed
No,
that
not I
medication.
mean just of any kind of
Just in
pill.
pills and stuff like that. You were like staying away from
Even
it.
whenever I tore my MCL ACL, like I mean like
Yeah.
I
You were
learned I learned what those could do to me, And then, but even before then, like I was just like really hesitant with it.
I think, yeah. And I think like, yeah, I mean, we saw Dad and Josh do with it and like pass out on the couch, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I think that's a big reason why we stayed away from drugs, you
Do
know,
people know
like,
what whippets are nowadays? Are those still a thing?
yeah, I think so. I've had some people talk about them in my work, and
Okay.
I work at a treatment center, so,
Okay.
but, yeah, and so, but then it went to the dark times where Mom and Dad decided to split up for the second time,
Mhm.
and that was hard. That was terrible. That was a really rough time for us.
Yeah, because like the first time we saw like mom go into church and dad kind of go the
Do his
other
own
way.
thing. Yeah,
You know what I mean? They kind of went on a Y divide.
yeah,
But during this split up, mom didn't go really to church or anything. That's whenever she like actually started experimenting, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah. I would say too, though, like, would they, the first time whenever they would fight, like, they hid that from us. They didn't fight in front of us. And the second time, like, we really saw them fight. Like, there was never physical violence. I mean, against each other. There was that fight when grandma and mom went knuckles
Yeah.
to fist, you know, knuckles, and like dad and Dennis went at it too. Like, that was terrible. But like, they never fought each other. Like, there was no physical violence with them. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of cussing. Like, it was rough. It was a bad time. I remember being so pissed off though. I remember them telling us that they were splitting up and me just taking off and walking. I just went off walking down the road. Like, I was just so mad because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we're going through this again. Like, and I was so mad. 'Cause I'm like, why are they tearing our family apart like this again? I remember thinking that and just being like so mad at them. But yeah, that was a really rough time for us. Like, all of us. That was bad.
Oh yeah. I mean, my music started to change around that era. Like I went from listening to like uh Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit and like, you know, stuff like that to like
Creed.
now to Creed. Yeah. To now all of a sudden I'm listening to like I said, 3 6 Mafia, Little White. I'm listening to uh Slipknot, you know, starting to get into like some real heavier stuff. I remember like uh my emo phase started to come out there for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, no, I think that's like really one of my emo phase, like kind of like started, really started was
Yeah.
right around there.
Yeah. I remember just being so mad and it was just like it was just a lot. Like, and I remember like mom being like, we're moving to Indiana. Like, we're gonna move to Indiana. Like, his papa got sick. We
Yeah,
went to visit, and mom made the decision when we went to visit, like, that we were gonna move up there. And so, and I think that's what kind of was the turning point of them getting back together. Was because mom was about to move seven and a
yeah,
half hours away, you know, and um yeah, so then God, we could do like a whole like segment of their like fights and their like breakups because like that there was a lot of stuff in that was pretty traumatic. That was like we'll just have like a whole like mom dad don't listen to this part, like you don't want to listen, and then like have a whole episode of that. But like yeah, so I mean that it was rough, you know, and that was like our last house in Tennessee though, because that's when that was the turning point of us moving to Indiana. And like because dad got back with mom, like everyone in the family was pissed at him and they were like done. And so like we couldn't have contact again. Like we were back to the no contact thing.
Yeah, and that no contact thing lasted for a while too.
Yeah.
Or at
Yeah.
least, yeah.
It felt like it. Like I remember like gosh, it had to have lasted for a couple of years. I feel like it lasted a couple of years. Like we couldn't. I remember talking to grandma one time, like whenever we had first moved to Indiana, and that was like so we moved to Indiana in 2004. Okay, it was in February 2004, and we moved to the Willow Street house,
Hmm.
and it was right next to the graveyard, like literally across the street from like
Right
the
across
biggest
the street.
graveyard.
I could
Yeah,
look out my bedroom window and see graves.
yeah. I was in sixth grade. You were in eighth grade. You
Our
know,
our next door neighbor was a business that sold headstones.
headstone. Yeah, yeah. It was creepy AF. Okay, scary. But yeah, and so we
Hardwood
had no.
floors.
Yeah, it did. It had the hardwood floors, but weren't they painted brown?
I think they were, yes, they were
Yeah,
painted brown. It was
but they
so
were.
cold. It couldn't keep heat very well.
You know what was weird though? Like the living room was the hardwood floors, but the kitchen and the bathroom had the carpet.
Carpets, why?
We were like, why is there carpet in the bathroom here? Like, and in the kitchen. Like, it was so weird. And we didn't have like heat. We didn't have heat, remember? Because it was
That's it.
gas. We didn't have heat. And so, like, to even take a bath, like, we would have to heat up water on the stove and then go pour it into the bathtub. And so, and we didn't have heat and it was February. And like, we weren't used to these northern winters. Like, we were used to the South when it didn't get like below like 40 degrees, you know? So it was like a whole new thing for us. So
No, yeah, because like a northern south winter is like very different. Memphis, especially in Memphis, like you get slush and they are shutting down freeways. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They're shutting them down. Trucks are out. They're salting. And that's with slush. Okay.
yeah.
That's with freezing rain. They do that. Jump up to Indiana where they won't touch a road unless you get 6 inches.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, hey, like, how are we gonna do this? I remember like there being snow still in February, and I was like, why is there snow? Like, what's going on here? Like, yeah, and it was a bit of a culture shock to us for sure. Like, mostly because like we were so used to there just being like so many different types of people. And whenever we moved to rural Indiana, there was just nothing but white kids. And I'm just like, this is weird. Like, where are all the other people? Like, it was a big shock, like, to me, I think.
Oh, yeah. Like shock as in like a culture shock in that way too. Music hit me like real weird because like I said, I was coming from like 3 6 Mafia, Little White, Project Pat. And then we come up here and then like everyone's listening to like My Chemical Romance and Taking Back
Simple
Sunday
Plan.
and the Used, Simple Plan,
Yeah.
Green Day, Offspring,
I mean, whenever you were listening to them, I was in my room jamming out the Hillary Duff. Okay. So I wasn't exposed to that. Like I remember you like blaring Simple Plan in your room and just like it being so loud, like you open the door and you're like, get out. And I'm just like, oh, and it's just like all this emo music. And I'm just like, okay, like, is he okay? But and then Danny lived with us too in that house. He had moved back in with us too. And so it was like it was crazy. But we got to know more of our family up here too. Like we got closer to like our cousins that were up here and um our grandparents and our uncle and our aunts and stuff like that. So we didn't live there for long. We only
Mm-mm.
lived there for like 6 months, maybe. Not even that, like 4 months, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't very long at all.
Hmm.
Um, I remember thinking, like, hearing that we're gonna move soon, and thinking like, oh, we're moving. Thinking like because in Memphis, when we were told we're gonna move, it was not only moving house, we're gonna move school. We're gonna get new
Hmm.
friends. We're going to, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then hearing from Willow Street and our parents saying that we're gonna move, going, oh man, I'm gonna have to get a whole new school, whole new friends. Like we're just gonna start all over again, and then
Mm.
moving into the same town, and then like, but we still get to keep
The
friends,
same school.
school.
Yeah. We're just on a
Yeah,
different bus. Like, you
yeah,
know what
that
I
was
mean?
it. That was it. That was the only thing that really changed.
Yeah. Yeah. And we moved to the barn house after that.
Yeah, so when we moved to the barn house, Danny's dad owned the barn house. We were buying it off of Danny's dad. Uh,
Mm.
I'm not really sure like the contract or any like that kind of stuff, but that was I know that. I know that we were buying it off of Danny's dad a little bit at a time, and we were supposed to, work on the house as well as, give Danny's dad money for it. And yeah, it was a barn style house. Really, what it was just a yard barn, just a 2 story. You
It
know,
was bigger though.
it was a big yard barn. Like it could have been like a garage, style yard barn.
Yeah.
Uh, that they just turned into a house, and it wasn't very insulated. You know what I mean? Like it was almost just the shell, pretty much, with some drywall screwed to the surroundings. That
We live
house
right next to the train tracks right there.
right by the train tracks. I'm talking
Yeah.
about within a 15-foot distance of that front door, you would hit railroad tracks. And every morning, every night, every evening, you would hear horns blaring. That's
Yeah.
when we learned how many trains actually went through Vincennes in a 24-hour period.
But I like blocked them out after a certain amount of time. Like I couldn't hear them anymore.
Yeah, within a 24-hour period, there's like 13, 14 trains that runs through Vincennes.
Yeah. I think
And
it's more than that. I think it's like 21, I think is what I heard.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So, with that many trains running through, every time that they hit an intersection, they're supposed to blare a horn. And like with it being right, I remember that first month being in that house, almost feeling like an insomniac. Just,
Hmm.
oh, but also that field right across from the railroad tracks is where I met Hedge, Thomas, Sam, from all
Hmm.
playing football and everything like that. And then I
And
found
Boogie.
and Boogie, and
Yeah.
that's whenever like Rachel's house. Rachel's house was kind of like the hangout house, but it was almost like I found the hangout house. What I found
Yeah.
like the hangout house of Vincennes at the time.
Yeah.
Like that's what it felt like to me. Excuse me.
Yeah. But our rooms, like we had the rooms upstairs, but they weren't really rooms because they didn't have doors. And they didn't have closets, I don't think. Did they have closets? I don't remember them having closets.
Mine wasn't. Mine was a loft area. So
Yeah.
my room was you go straight upstairs to the left, there was a loft area. And that was my room. Your room didn't have a door? I thought your room had a door.
No, no, neither one of them had a door.
But you did actually have a room.
Yeah, it
Like,
was like pretty much closed off except for the door part. But like I remember like dad was like, yeah, we're gonna paint. So, I was like, oh, can I color on it? Okay. So yeah, so I was really excited to color on the walls. All my friends came over and colored on the walls. And then if we got into any fights with anybody, like, because I was like in seventh grade, middle school, and little girls we would mark them off the wall. they would get scribbled out. So I'd have random like big X's or like completely scribbled sections and stuff like that. So
You've been voted off the island.
yeah.
Goodbye.
And then it's like whenever we like became friends again, because we were middle school girls, you know, then it was always awkward when they came back and they're scribbled off. I'm like, well, I was mad at you. Yeah. But that's kind of when my like emo-y phase became, because I started listening to My Chemical Romance then and the Used and stuff like that. Like that's when I really started listening to them, and the Used is still like my favorite. So
Yeah, I mean, that was also the like I could go on a whole big thing with Hedges House just because of just how Mama Rachel treated us, you know, and stuff like that. And just like almost like it felt like she let us learn how to be adults. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it was Lord of the Flies, but also at the same time we were learning what this life thing was really about.
Yeah, but that's kind of like when it started to be like, oh, Wes is a boy. He can go and hang out with his friends and do what he wants to do and like go over there and like drink and do whatever. And I was like, not allowed to do those kinds of, like, I wasn't even allowed over there. Like, I wasn't even allowed over there. So it's like, okay, like, so,
Also,
but
like the internet was like starting to like be like a huge, well, not really the internet, but AOL chat,
mhm.
Bear Share, where we could, you know, get free music was starting to be a real big thing. Uh, YouTube, I think, was just starting up around that time, maybe. Um, that's also like on the bus around that time is like whenever I met Aaron
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Um, it wasn't until the next house that our friends started like weaving in and out, right?
So, like, us becoming friends with the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like the real street house that we moved into like in 2005, 2004, 2005-ish that year. Oh, but at the Barn House you were like a freshman and you went to prom with the senior.
Oh, yep.
Remember?
Yep. That's where I met Johnny Watts for the
Mhm.
first time. Johnny Watts will come up later and probably often. Um, that's uh, that's where I met Johnny Watts. Um,
Yeah, and you went to prom with that girl named Jessica.
Jess. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's kind of like when your friends like kind of shifted a little bit from us living at the barn house and you spending time with Hedge and them like all the time. Then we moved to Real Street, which was across town.
Wait, but
And
in the barn house, you slid down the stairs and almost and right into the stove. We
yes,
have
I
to
did.
bring.
Okay, it's my story. I will tell it. Okay. Listen, you guys, like we lived upstairs. The stairs in this barn house were like so steep. Okay. They were steep. I don't even think we had a railing. Okay. And I'm not a morning person. To this day, I'm still not a morning person. And I would always have to be the one that got up early, you know, and I was getting up to go downstairs to shower. And so I get up and I'm walking downstairs, and like at the bottom of our stairs was like our little like kind of galley kitchen. It was just like on the wall, like was like the stove, like part of like the what's that called?
Countertop.
Countertop, the sink, countertop, and the fridge. So like it was just that wall. And so there was like maybe a square of linoleum in between the last step and the stove. And so it was kind of like you had to like swift your way around to get up the stairs, or at least that's how I remember it. And again, I'm not a morning person. One morning I got up, I'm trying to take all my crap downstairs to go take a shower, and I slip and I literally slide on my knees all the way down the stairs and face plant into the stove.
I'm talking, all you hear is a boom.
Yeah. And of course, like I'm in shock. So I'm like not like crying or anything, or anything like that. And I remember dad like bolting out of bed, like running in there, being like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And like picking me up off the floor. And mom coming in there and her looking like she's about to like die laughing. And I'm like, "Okay, mom, I guess it's okay to laugh." Like, she tells it differently. She's like, "Oh, you were all like, it's okay, mom, if you want to laugh. I know it's funny." Okay, I just hit the stove. Like, come on, people. I had bruises up and down my legs. They were so bad. It was terrible. Terrible.
It's horrible. It was.
I'm extra cautious with stairs all the time. I'm a clumsy person anyway, so it's like never gonna be a good combination of me with stairs. Like, it's not. So, you know. But yeah, so that was one of the great memories from that house. Um,
Now we can
it-
move to real if you want.
Now we can move to Real Street House that we moved in 2005, 2004-ish area. This house is the longest house, like the house we lived in the longest as a family. Because we were in that house as a family for what, like 3 years?
At least
Three
four.
and 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. And so, yeah, so like all of my high school, basically, well, not all of it, but like from eighth grade to like junior year, we were in that house. And
Mhm.
like, let me tell you that it wasn't a great house, guys. It just wasn't. Like, it was small, it was haunted, and it was like we had to share a bedroom.
Mhm.
So, and you to get to the bathroom, you had to go through our room to get to the bathroom. And so there was no privacy ever, like nothing. And so yeah, and then
Dad built us bunk beds for grown-ups.
yeah, they were some legit bunk beds, okay? They were awesome. And
Those were
again,
some sturdy bunk beds, like sturdy bunk beds. What?
I'm glad you feel that way.
Why?
Um,
You don't think so?
no, they were. They were sturdy. I didn't try them out like you did, but they were sturdy bunk beds.
Okay.
I drew on my end, my bunk. Like, again, dad was like, "Yeah, we're gonna paint them to do whatever you want." And so like my friends would come over and like sign them and write stuff on and draw stuff on them and stuff like that. And like that was a house that like, you know, I went through high school with and stuff like that. And like you were gone a lot.
Hmm.
You were out like wrestling. You really got into wrestling in that house. Like you were like we could do a whole segment of you wrestling. Like we could do like 10 segments of that, like whatever, but like that's the house you really got into it at. And
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
You would go and you would be gone like every weekend. You'd be gone wrestling. Like Wednesdays you went to Tennessee to go wrestle in Nashville like every week. So it was like you didn't come home until wee hours in the morning. Like,
Tuesday was Nashville, Wednesday was Evansville.
so you were gone, bruh. You were gone. Okay. And then yeah, you were gone all the time. But I remember like Hedge and them moved like to the street over from us. So like you were like back in contact with them and stuff. And like again, like cell phones and stuff were not big. So like I remember getting my first like little Virgin Mobile like prepaid phone. Like, and I thought it was the best thing in the whole world. I could play Snake. And yeah, so that was like those times. So it wasn't like we could like stay in contact with our friends and stuff like that necessarily. Like we were still using our landline, you
Well,
know? So
yeah, because like text messages, you'd have to pay for each text
hmm
message
yeah,
or letter or something like that. I forget, but like
I don't
for
even
each,
remember.
for each letter or for each text message, it costed
It
you
was,
money.
yeah, it was so many cents or whatever. So yeah. And then like Aaron moved in with us. And you
Hmm.
guys moved like down to the basement.
Yeah.
And that was a creepy basement. Like I still don't even understand like how that happened or why. I don't even know. Obviously
Well,
I know why, but it's still like creepy, dude. Creepy.
oh yeah, Aaron used to all the time like swear up and down like how haunted that basement was. She wouldn't stay down there unless I was down there, which I
Yeah.
understand that basement was creepy. I didn't like to be down there alone, you
Yeah.
know. But at the same time, we also did need our privacy.
You were in high school. Okay. You didn't need privacy. Um, and during that time, I started going to church a lot. Like I started going to Ridgecrest, and so like that's where I would go and see my friends and hang out and stuff like that. Like we went every Sunday, like Sunday morning, Sunday evenings, Wednesdays, like and I like we went on mission trips with them. Like mom and dad started coming there, you started coming there. Like it became like our family too while we were there.
Yeah, Johnny started coming to church. We got Johnny to come to church with us. Yeah, Miss
Jesse came to
Cat.
church with us.
That's where we met a lady by Miss Cat that had a son named Tom,
Hmm
Tom Cat, and yeah, they were real. I remember Miss Cat being like one of the sweetest people in the world.
Literally the kindest person. And
Yeah,
Pinky was our pastor. His nickname was Pinky, and he was literally like he was a big burly man from Mississippi, and he was like when he spoke and when he preached, it was literally like he was speaking to you. Like it was like it just like consumed you. And like I was baptized in that church, like you were baptized in that church, like it was a big part of our life. Like and then whenever like Pinky left, because he moved back to I'm sorry, moved back to Mississippi, that's like when everybody stopped going.
yeah,
Yeah, it kind of fell apart after that. But yeah, and so yeah, gosh, we went to high school. That is the house where we started having the same friends.
okay.
Yeah. So we started kind of hanging out with all the same people. Like our friends all kind of started hanging out together. And yeah, and like it was
Yeah, you would bring over people. I would bring over people. Some of our friends like already knew each other or related themselves in
yeah,
ways. With Vincent's not being like not that big of a town, one middle school, one high school, everyone, kind of already knew each other in one way or another, anyways. So yeah, it just became almost like a melting pot, like in a weird way.
yeah, yeah. We had yeah, and like yeah, we had yeah. Granddaddy passed away while we were in that house. Um, after that, that's where so in that house is really where like when I became a teenager, where my mental health like kind of started like changing and like kind of coming out and stuff like that. I remember that and like yeah, I remember starting to self-harm in that house and like going to therapy for a little bit there. And I remember like after after granddaddy died, like I went through the stages of like insomnia where I just wouldn't sleep for days. And then like my anxiety was just so high. I don't even know why, but it was just so high. And I remember mom and dad getting a Xanax from one of your friends and like giving it to me. And I slept for like 16 hours straight, like not even kidding. And I was like, I thought I was dying. Like, mom thought I was dying. No one took me to the hospital though. They just let me sleep it off. But I had like I had parties in that house. Like I got mono for the first time from a beer pong competition in that house. Like it was yeah, there's a lot. You like graduated high school in that house. You went to VU in that house. Like
Well,
you like
I didn't graduate high school. I got a certificate of being there so many days.
it was complete a certificate of completion.
Because I also had to go and take my GED.
Yeah. So you were never a test taker and you didn't pass your I-step. That was the only thing. Like you had all the credits and it was just because of the I-step.
Which is quite what baffles me is that I didn't I couldn't do high school.
Yeah.
I couldn't do school well. Like I
Yeah.
have theories, I have, stuff like that of why and stuff like that. But like I didn't do school well. But somehow I gathered enough knowledge to where like whenever I went to the GED place and they gave me like because they give you sample tests before they let you take the GED test, to make sure, you would pass. And like I would pass all these tests that they would give me, you know,
Mhm.
and then they're like, okay, you're ready for your GED test. And I took it and I almost got like real high on the GED
Yeah.
test,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me. I couldn't pass an I-step test, but I could get almost honors on a GED test.
I don't understand the testing. I never have. Like I just think that's bullshit, basically. Like all these standardized testing. That's not how you like can
But if
regulate
okay,
whether
so
like
what is the standardized test then? Is it the GED or is it
the
the
I-step.
I-step?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, what's the difference, you know? I don't know. Like, why can you pass one, but the other one is like so difficult? Was
Yeah,
it the pressure you were under? You know what I mean? Or was it like the literal test? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
it's weird. But okay, so yeah, there I graduated college, or I not graduated college. I never graduated college.
You started college.
I went to did high school. You know, I remember getting my certificate because I walked. They still let me walk across
Yeah.
stage and everything. And whenever they handed me the certificate, like I put Bubba teeth in. I remember Uncle Chad and Uncle Chris just laughing so hard, but Papal just being so disappointed in me doing that.
Listen, let me just tell you. I don't have any photos of my graduation, but I have a photo of your graduation hanging up in my house of like
Really?
me and you and mom and dad. Like I have a photo of that. I don't have any photos of my graduation. Like nobody took photos.
What?
Yeah.
And you're the one who actually graduated.
Weird how that happened, right? Weird. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is, whatever. But yeah. So like that. Yeah. So I'm like, I always think like, how come I never have any photos of my graduation? But like, no one took any.
Yeah. Well, whenever I was in high school too, like I was doing high school, as you were saying, I was gone all the time. So I was doing high school. I was also going every Tuesday. almost going to Nashville, Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
coming home the next day, going to high school, then go traveling an hour down to Evansville, doing Evansville, coming home, or staying JP's house, then coming home, going to high school the next day. You know what I'm saying? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, gone. Sundays probably finding a wrestling ring to train somewhere or roll around. You know what I mean? That's just that, like I said, Johnny got me into wrestling there at the Real Street House. That's where because of that, I got to meet Jesse,
Mm-hmm.
which was a real big part of my life, for a little bit. Uh, that's yeah, I mean, and that's where I met Walt
Yeah.
and JP and Jenna, and yeah, like for me being like 16, me being 17, 18, I had a live-in girlfriend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. And you were working too.
And working
Yeah.
somehow through all of it.
Maybe because you had all that stuff going on. Maybe that's why you didn't graduate.
Maybe, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. Yep. I know. Yeah, there was a lot. Like, that was the
But
longest house that we lived.
even after school, you know what I mean? Like that didn't stop me from wrestling. That just gave me
Yeah,
more time to travel, if anything.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. That house has a lot of memories.
I mean, me and Aaron broke up at that house.
Yeah.
Also, like,
Yeah, you guys were together like what, 4 years?
yeah. But at that time, I really compared my life to Josh at Helene for some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Remember, oh my gosh, you had a mohawk, but remember that one time you asked me to like trim your mohawk and I literally shaved you bald on the side?
Scalp. I mean, to
Also,
the scalp. To the scalp.
okay, well, you should have trusted me because I was also pissed at you because you would steal my eyeliner. Like I would like go because like it was my emo face. So of course I had some dark AF like eyeliner and I would go to get it and it would be gone because my brother would steal my eyeliner and take it with him to go wrestling and mark all over his face with.
Yeah, yeah. So my wrestling character, I painted my face. It took me not very long to find out that eyeliner is the best. Not only to like smear on your face to make you look kind of crazy, but also I have blue eyes, so it'll make the eyes pop. So whenever I do look crazy, somehow having blue eyes gives an innocent look to the character. So I could play. Anyway, sorry, that's getting into like the psychology of Shank. But yeah, so eyeliner was easier to smear.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have eyeliner on hand or no one took me to the store to get some eyeliner or something like that, yeah, I'd definitely steal Brady's eyeliner. I tried to steal like the little ones, but if not, I would definitely steal. Yeah, I would definitely steal eyeliner. I also learned quickly one time that someone told me, I don't know why I believed it, but I couldn't steal a sharpener from you, right? So I didn't have a pencil sharpener. And someone told me if you heat up eyeliner, it will turn to liquid and it would come and you could use it. Yeah, don't do that.
Who
Don't.
told you that?
I don't remember. Don't do that. Don't do it. It
Don't do
does
that,
turn to
kids.
liquid. It
That's
it
bad for you.
it does turn to liquid. Okay. However,
burn.
that liquid turns into molten hot lava when applied to skin, and it doesn't smear after that because your skin is now infused with the eyeliner.
Yeah. It's almost like a tattoo.
Yeah, almost a person tag.
Yeah.
I'm a needle away of having a teardrop.
A needle away. Just a needle away, guys. I like in that house I was really into like I got into like a party phase. Like I stopped going to therapy and stuff like that and I just like was in this party phase like with Cullen and like drinking and like everything like that and like I remember like getting like liquid hydrocodone for like a sore throat and I would like drink like a couple of shots of it before I'd go to school or I'd like put some vodka in like a water bottle and take it to school and stuff like that like and just I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. I also thought that I was super cool because I was like hanging out with like older kids. Like this is also like whenever like the whole like romance with Jesse and stuff was going on. You know what I mean? And like I thought I was cool and like I could do all these things. I could not. Those are not good things. Okay. So yeah, that house like had a lot.
A lot of memories.
Yeah. Our parents split up for the final time in that house.
Mhm.
I remember dad going and helping taking care of Uncle Glenn like right before he passed away and dad was gone for months and mom would just cry and say she just wanted her husband home and stuff like that and I just remember like dad coming and it was like the morning of my junior year finals that they like set us down and told us like that they're getting a divorce and at that point I was just like fucking do it was my like thought like I was just like okay, well, third time's a charm. Like, we're gonna get to the final act this time, or what? Like, that was just kind of my thoughts. Like, I was just like so to the point where like I was fed up with it, and I was just like, whatever. Like, I'm going to school. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like so mad, but
Oh, I guess my perspective on that was I kind of felt that it was coming for a while.
yeah,
Um, I know that dad was frustrated a lot during that time. I'm not really, I know he, like, whenever you were around dad at that time, you could just almost feel his frustrations a little bit. Um, I know, one of like, I don't know, but like, um, I'm sure like a lot of things was like at him, you know, uh, Aaron, I know really didn't really help because him and Aaron really didn't get along. So
yeah,
that was just like kind of the thing. And then whenever me and Aaron broke up, dad didn't have anyone else to like kind of fight with. So it kind of just went to mom, to their relationship.
yeah. But I
At
think
least that's
also,
what it felt like to
yeah,
me in that situation.
I think that also like so. A lot of like the things that I've learned about myself, we kind of talked about like that like self-destruct kind of thing, but I think also dad grew up with so much chaos and like our lives are so much chaos that like whenever it was calm, it was like something is wrong. So it's almost like not being able to like be chill, not being able to just being on edge, thinking something bad's gonna happen at all times, or like feeling like there needs to be some kind of chaos. And because I feel that way too. Like if it is too calm for too long and nothing goes bad or anything, like I'm restless. Like I feel like I need to like move or I need to like dye my hair 50,000 times, or I need to shave my head, or I need to like, there needs to be like a fight going on with somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And so I have to like rein myself in and be like, not having chaos is normal. That's good. And so
yeah,
I think like with dad, like that was probably how he felt too, like being restless and all the time. And so I can see like how he would like get agitated and things like that and just like feel restless. And I think that like they were going in two different places too. Like mom was going to school, like she went back to college, and dad like was trying to figure out what he wanted in life too. And so I think it was just time. But they had a really nasty divorce too. So that's a conversation for a different day.
yeah, yeah. I feel what you mean with that, like
Yeah.
needing chaos a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why I dove into wrestling so hard, just because wrestling is just pure chaos with
Yeah.
control. Like
Hmm.
it's controlled chaos. That's what I love about it. That's why I dove so hard into it. Like at any time, if something's not timed right, if there's not an agreement, if there's, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're also putty in someone else's hands at any time, like something bad could happen, but it doesn't. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And yeah, I definitely get that.
I think that that's kind of like where,
And
like,
I think wrestling actually saved me in a way, in a crazy, weird way. I think wrestling, like, it showed me a lot of holes that I could go down into and stuff like that, like watching other or seeing other wrestlers and like stuff like that. But
yeah,
also, like, it gave me an avenue to get that chaos aspect out of me,
yeah,
especially with the character that I was playing too. I
yeah,
got a lot to, yeah.
yeah.
I got
I,
therapy out without having therapy.
but yeah, so like living in chaos. And I think that that's how, like, that's what like dad struggled with. And I think we struggle with that too. You know, once you've lived with with chaos for so long, when you don't have that, it's like you said, like idle hands and stuff. So, yeah, but it was just rough. And so, like, yeah, like Real Street, like I said, the longest time we lived at, like, longest house we lived in as a family.
Mhm.
So there was lots of memories and lots of stuff there. And like we could have a whole segment about Real Street House because of all the stuff that happened there. But like that house was haunted as fuck. Like, so, and one of your friends, like, well, one of this girl that was like obsessed with you, like, was sending me messages on Facebook saying she's gonna slit my throat, like trying to
Did
kill
y'all
me.
try to do a ghost seance or something like that down in the basement? Or like
Do
try to
you
talk?
really think that I would be involved with something like that? I feel like maybe Aaron would,
Maybe
but
that was
I
her.
never was around a Ouija board. You know how I felt about those?
I don't think a Ouija board was involved, more or less like a recorder or something like that, like trying to like
Like Ghost Adventures kind of thing?
yeah.
Fucking probably. Who knows? Who knows, honestly? Was
Crazy
I
ass
just,
white people.
yeah. Was I intoxicated? Who knows? But yeah, so, and like mom and dad split, like you kind of moved out at that point, like, didn't you? Like, or you were just like at like the Fourth Street house all the time?
Um okay, so I was at there all the time and everything. And uh Kenny and Kyle and Brett, a guy that I just went through with, uh, was looking for a place right at the time that mom was moving out. So the separation already happened whenever I was going through uh pledgeship and everything.
Yeah. And
So
we moved
whenever,
to the Bayou Street, their Bayou Street house.
yeah. So whenever y'all moved to the Bayou Street house, I was moving into the Banner, I believe. Right?
No,
No?
no, because remember you painted all the windows when we first moved in there.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you were
that's right.
there all the time. You were there all the time, but like you weren't officially moved in there
That's right. You're right.
because there
You
was
are.
all those windows and you painted all those windows and that like it was like a sunroom, but it was like turned into your bedroom.
Mhm.
My room was like the living room, and then we like had like the actual like living room that I feel like was like a sitting room. It had like two living rooms. It was a weird house. And so my room had no doors, and then your room was off of my room, and then we had like the kitchen and like the little dining area and stuff like that. And then mom had a room with like the door like that off to the side. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
I painted all those windows. One was like a think I had the fist with the grenade from
Green Day.
Green Day. I had something from the Used. I think probably the heart of the
Yeah,
Used. Uh, we went. Me and Oliver went to Ohio one time, and there was this beautiful mural on the
mural.
wall. Yeah,
Yeah,
on the wall of this lady's face, and I remember I took a picture of it before the show. Thank God, because in the show, someone went through the wall. Like someone got like whipped into the wall and put a hole into the mural.
oh my
And
gosh.
I painted that mural on the window. That was that lady, that face, that blue of all blue.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
same mural that I took. Uh,
A
yeah, I
Starry Night.
just what's
You
up?
painted that. A Starry Night.
Yeah, I painted Starry Night on one of them.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really cool and really fun that mom actually let me do that.
yeah, yeah. It was cool. And then dad was living in Tennessee then. So
Mhm.
yeah, and so that was my senior year. And then you had moved out after a little bit and moved to the Banner. And so with your friends and your fraternity brothers. And then like, so I was, I lived there and Amy lived with us for a while there and stuff like that. And like, that's a house that like I lived in when I graduated high school and stuff like that. So
You were babysitting Hannah at that time, right?
I had babysat Hannah since we moved to Indiana. Like
Okay.
I helped potty train that girl. That's my mini me. That's my baby. She's my first baby always. She's 21 years old now, but she's still my forever baby. And I used to sing her to sleep, like babysat her every single summer. Like that was my job. Like I babysat her. So her and her little friends, they would fight and stuff like that. So yeah. And then we lived there for like 2 years, I think. And then um mom sat us down and was like, I'm moving out in a month to a 1 bedroom apartment. You guys gotta figure it out. And so we were like, okay. And like I was a freshman in college and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know. Like, because I went to like the community college there in town. So
Mhm.
and you were like, all right, I'm moving back to the Manor. And so like, okay. Like, and then I moved in with like an older, like, sorority sister. So, and that's where we parted ways.
Yep. Pleasure meeting you.
Never lived together again, but saw each other frequently throughout the week,
Yeah.
especially on the weekends on parties.
I would come home from like a wrestling show, the eyeliner still all over my face, and like being like, "All right, where's my little sister? She's here somewhere."
Oh, she's somewhere. Who knows? Yeah. Forever known as Wes's little sister for my whole life.
You could be a cold verse,
What?
huh?
What'd you say?
I said you could be cold verse.
Oh, it could be called worse. That's true.
A lot better, but you could be called a lot worse too.
But like sometimes it was cool because I'd be like, yeah, I'm Wes's little sister. Like, of course I'm allowed in here, like to this party. Like, hello.
Uh,
Everybody loves Wes. It's like everyone hates Chris, but it's everyone loves Wes.
yeah, not everyone, but I I've tried to be a likable human being.
The majority of people are like, yeah, Wes, yeah, I know him. He's cool. He's cool. He's cool people. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's my brother. Like, but yeah, so that's our timeline. And then we split ways and we moved and did our own thing. And now we're both married and have a kid.
Yeah, with some other crazy stories that's happened in between that we can get into, and then also like
Yeah.
we can also talk about other things. I know that our next episode we're going to be interviewing each other. I've gotten some questions. Do you have some questions?
I did my homework. Wes
Yeah.
gave me homework, you guys, and I kept forgetting about it. And I finally did it.
Yeah.
So I
All
did
right,
it.
so our next episode we'll be interviewing each other. I mean, maybe getting a little bit closer, maybe not, who knows, you know.
My therapist said that she thinks this is a great idea and she thought it'd be very therapeutic for both of us.
Really?
Yes. So
Look
I
at me,
have the green
with a
light.
good idea.
Look at that. She also said though that we should probably like talk about happy things at the end or do something fun at the end, so that we're just not like thinking about all our bad shit that happened. So, just a pro tip for you guys when you're talking about bad shit for a while or talking about stuff that might get you in your feelings, do something happy right after, so then you just forget about all that bad stuff.
Oh, now you know.
The more you know.
Yeah, so next episode is going to be that us interviewing each other. Um, just some questions that you know we've never really discussed or even asked each other really. I also have a question, you know, for John, you know, stuff like that to get him involved in this little just for a little bit, you know, because I kind of feel bad for him, like him just listening without any discussion or input
Oh,
really.
you're fine. I've personally
I'll-
today I've had some
Every now and then I hear him giggle, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good."
Listen, I feel like now he's hearing all this stuff, all this crazy shit, and he's like, damn, I wish I would have known this before I married her.
no. Oh my god.
Where was this warning label at?
Right? Where was this podcast before? I could have learned all this before I committed.
The disclaimer label. Gosh.
I told you straight up, mister. I said I'm a little crazy. By little, I mean a lot. So if you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah, too late now.
Oh, I don't think it took very long for Courtney to realize I come with a like warning label. To be honest, I don't think it takes very many people very long to know that I come with a warning label.
I feel like it's been like what, like 12 years for you guys? Like if she hasn't dipped out yet, like she's good.
Yeah,
Like
I'm okay.
like yeah. You guys are like married now, you got a kid. So yeah, so you guys check us out on our Instagram page too, the Temper Tantrum Pod. And then also like we will be putting out a new video every Thursday. So check it out. Leave us some comments, some love. No hate, please. No one likes that. No one likes you if you do that. And then just
Woo! No
I'm sure
hate, throwing
someone likes
hate.
them somewhere.
listen, but like if you're gonna troll people, like that's not nice. Like that's not nice. So like no, okay. Let's all be friends here, or just don't listen. It's fine. Like we're doing this for fun. Like it's not, So anyway, check it out. Keep us posted. If you have questions, we can answer them on the next one. Just hit us up. Let us know.
No, but it's the more that people do comment, the more that we can get involved more. The more we know things that y'all would like to listen to or listen about and stuff like that. I know that whenever I comment on something, I'm under a different name because my YouTube, I'll get on my actual YouTube, the Shank Barzini YouTube, an actual comment. I've commented on one person's thing. So just a little throw that out there just in case you don't think some weird guy with the last name or a first name of a knife is like commenting weird stuff. It's me. I'm the weird guy commenting stuff.
But I feel like nowadays, like that could possibly be someone's name. You know what I
Shank,
mean? Yeah.
bless that kid.
You got kids named Blaze. You got kids named like River and Apple.
Apple.
Like
Yep.
Hey, listen, Remington.
Remington, a
Colt.
gun. Hello.
Next is gonna be 45 and 2 zigzags.
Hey,
That's a Colt.
I've gotten Courtney this.
Zigzag was their number 3. Okay, that was their number 3 on their name list. With the hyphen. With the hyphen. Don't take the hyphen.
But thanks for going on that tangent with us, and please come back and watch again. Love y'all. Thank y'all. Have a good day, night, evening, wherever you living.
See you on the flip.
See you on the flip side.